Hello everyone and welcome to the LSI F1 World Championship here for the finale in Japan. And we've had both championships decided. Heisler last weekend for the drivers and McLaren a few races ago for the team's championship. Jericho Willis joins us once again for the last race of the season to send it off in style. Welcome to Suzuka. One hell of a venue to finish off a absolutely awesome championship. Now, we've already had quite a few laps done. We've only got a few moments. Everybody's ready for their final runs, including Charlie, who's currently on their final lap into the first and second Degner, which is absolutely treacherous, especially with the new laser scan track up the hill and then back down it as you brake, trying to not lock up those front tyres into the spoon hairpin. They managed to get through it quite nicely. That's actually hairpin, the spoon, all the way through the curve. And that looks like a car that's on rails. And that's Charlie done with qualifying. That's going to be their lap done. It's going to be sulking, not up next, but definitely up very, very shortly to go for a lap. I'm looking down the order to see who we can get crossing the line sooner. It's going to be Igor, possibly. It will be Igor, actually, who's going to be crossing the line next, but I think they're actually preparing a lap as they've got a decent amount of battery. So it's going to be Briscoe Jr. Sorry, not Briscoe Jr. That's going to be Charlie across the line. It's going to be Verf who will cross the line next to go for their final lap. It's going to be the pit lane for Eager Pro, Charlie and Master Oath all at the back. Sorry, not all at the back. All finished with their session already. Eager Pro to P3. What can Verf do? Can they end off a incredible season with a few wins to their name, with a pole position to begin the final event as they send it through the final chicane, absolutely all over those curves, pulling it to the right hand side to minimise the track distance, and it's going to be provisional pole position, 1/10 improvement, margins in front of Briscoe Jr., who's been absolutely rapid so far this season. It's sulking to P4, just behind, not quite able to get to the 26s, but who is in the 26s and looking to try and go even faster is this man, the multiple race winner. What can they do? Some misfortune, some fortune, and some victories. They start off the final attempt here in LSI with a provisional pole position, 26.5. How's it going to go for the rest of the field? Jericho Willis to P5 they go on return. It's going to be Nifo across the line. And it's going to be a 2.5 improvement with Frantic to finish off the session. And where are they going to end up as they cross their line? And we didn't quite see, but I think they stayed where they were in the end. A nice improvement there for Nifo right at the last moment, but that is going to be Briscoe Jr. taking it very, very nicely. Absolutely awesome. Briscoe Jr. on pole position, Verf in P2 and Frantic in P3 once again in the top 3 for qualifying. How about that? That's the race director. We'll be back in a bit for the race. Ready, hold, go! Who's going to get it into turn one? Briscoe Jr. on pole position. The outside line is theirs. They're not going to hold it though. It's 3 wide. It's 4 wide. Oh, Igor backs off. It's frantic to P1 for a second. Verf's going to try and come back at him. Oh, there's a bit of traction loss. But no, Frantic is in P1 after the first corner. An absolutely incredible opening moment there to see all cars going at it. Absolutely amazing. It's Eager Pro to P4 after that start. Briscoe Jr. losing 2 positions. Once again, not able to get away very well off the start of races, but they do have a good chance of getting back into this later on. Sulkin off the road. Just a moment there for them as the Williams has to move out the way, and so does all. No, they're going to come back on Master Oath in the Mercedes car. Is it going to be possible for them to actually gain that or not? They are able to get the move done. Frantic is going to be very pleased with what they've just achieved, but it's very much the beginning of the race. It's lap 1 of 27, a long race ahead of them. Only 1 lap behind them, but many cars looking for that first place behind them as well. First up, the green car of Verf in the Sauber, and they've got some pressure themselves as well. Briscoe Jr. wants to try not get back through, but to be honest, considering they lost 2 positions off the start, that's actually very good going. We have Eager Pro who's going to want to get through as soon as possible. That's why you can see they're using so much battery. Fortunate for Briscoe Jr., the cars in front are also using a lot of battery. It's Verf who wasn't able to get past Frantic, and Frantic stays in the lead of the Grand Prix as DRS will be enabled when we go back once again into turn 1 on the following lap. Eager Pro wanted to get through because that hard tyre is going to be slow in these opening stages, but Briscoe is holding on nicely. They've got to think more. If I don't get past this driver, then I am going to be losing out later on in the race because they'll be able to break away. That's what we saw in Belgium. It was one hell of a strategy that I really didn't think would work. It's very hard to make it work, especially when you're fighting against a train like this, but it's not impossible. Everybody in the train on lap 2, but no room for overtaking right now. The lovely laser scan track looking very different in 2025. This is what it looks like on board from the driver's perspective as they power down the backstretch towards 130R, the slipstream, the speed, the ERS, just building up to an overwhelming moment into the final chicane where they slam the brakes and try and not lock those rear tyres. And you can see there's a little bit of snaking, as if they almost got it wrong, they're going to have to try and recoup on the exit of the final corner. And here it is, Verf's attempt at going for P1, and they're already close. It's a drag race into the first corner. Are we going to see anyone else go through? It's going to be Briscoe Jr. staying ahead of Eager Pro. And that's about it. It's the top 2 that switch positions as we expected. Verf is unleashed. How's this going to go for them? It's Briscoe going defensive from Eager Pro, who almost had a look at doing something, but they weren't able to do much. Now Frantic appears to be having some connection issues once again. Last time we saw this happen, and then it ended up not being a problem. It's Briscoe Jr. off the road. What happened to them? Did they get a problem from Frantic being a bit glitchy or on the circuit? I'm not entirely sure. I don't think it was that being the issue. I think that must have been a hard tyre, dirty air kind of issue for Briscoe in the end. So I think they're okay. I do apologise if that was a problem. Frantic hasn't been able to hold on to the back of Verf, and it's going to be now Eager Pro invited, although they've almost just gone completely off the circuit. In the meantime, as all this is happening, and we hope that the connection stays good enough and fixes itself swiftly. Info's got to P4, Jericho Willis up to P5. Briscoe Jr. of course down after that moment, but they're still very much in this race and ahead of many. It's Sulkin who goes ahead of Charlie. How the hell did that happen? Because just a few moments ago they were fairly far behind, being stuck behind the hard tyre runner of Briscoe Jr. Maybe that just bunched them up and Sulkin found their way past. A hell of a move to get that kind of thing done. It's Eager Pro who's made a mistake as Frantic found a little bit of pace on Verf and the Aston Martin hasn't been able to find it back themselves to repair the damage. They've eventually found it through the S section, as Frantic isn't able to hold on to the Sauber car, and the Sauber car is now trying to check out from this race on lap 4 out of 27 already. Strategy is still yet to come, of course, but it's still very good to set yourself in this race as the dominant force. Nifo has got a little bit of pressure from Jericho Willis as they've got 1 second gap in front. They are at risk of losing this DRS unless they can pull it through in this middle part of the circuit. They do have a long old straight to get through, but with a little bit of luck, not luck, effort, they've managed to bring it to 0.6 of a second. So very good job there from them. Frantic, however, hasn't been able to hold on to the Hungarian, who is absolutely flying at the moment. They're going to have some pressure from Eager Pro very shortly, though. There you can see Verf going through the chicane as they're racing their own race, but in the background you can see Eager Pro. They're going to be charging up this move. Will they be able to get the job done? That's the question. Into turn 1, they're gaining, but not enough to really be a threat, and Frantic will stay taking the racing line. Eager Pro won't have an opportunity to get back through. There's a bit of lag, unfortunately, so it's going to be quite difficult for Eagle to really choose where to go, but as long as they give a lot of space to Frantic, then hopefully they'll be okay. It does seem to be a little bit better than it was earlier on, fortunately, although it's still not exactly ideal, as we can see. Everybody from P3 to P8 currently in the train. P1 and 2 splitting away. Master Oath on debut in LSI, giving it their best shot, staying on track right now. I say that as they almost go off the circuit completely. They gave it a very good effort in the beginning laps, but unfortunately it's not an easy grid to compete against, so we don't blame them at all, but I'm not entirely sure what that's for. I don't know why they needed to do that. I do apologise for that. We're fortunate that that didn't cause a safety car. We'll continue the race as if that didn't happen. Frantic sits in P2. Eager Pro is going to have a second attempt at going for this move, but they haven't really got the optimal line exiting the final corner, and a bit of oversteer as well isn't going to help their exit. With a lack of battery, it's going to be Nitho who comes through on the inside line instead, and there it is. A lovely move. Oh my days, it's not going to work out. Over the curb very slightly, and all the momentum is gone, and Nifo is now at the back of the pack, out of DRS range. What a shame to see that happen right there. They were looking to make the progress, use the battery to power through on a car that had run out completely, but unfortunately just a slight misjudgment to the right hand side has thrown that all away. 2.1 seconds. Once again, as I said, strategy is still a part of this race, and everybody is still very much in this race, but that's going to hurt them a lot. It's side by side between Charlie and Sulkin. It's Charlie who goes through this time around. Sulkin going off on the exit of the second Degner and allowing the Williams to get through. Now they're directly behind their teammate, but they've still got half a second to try and catch up. That fighting did actually help Nifo catch back up, so the grid is once again closing up fairly nicely. Frantic still leads the train as Verf continues to break a gap further and further and repeat what they did for the first time in LSI history in Austria. Will Eagle... Oh no! A big snap of oversteer, and they didn't hit the pit wall luckily, but it's going to be 1 and 2 positions lost. Jericho Willis unleashed to P3 and Briscoe Jr. able to make an easy pass with their situation. That's going to be more battling with Sulkin and Charlie, and I'm not entirely sure how this is going to help their race, if at all. But Sulkin loses that position immediately once again, and now they have ended up losing DRS once more, so it's going to be tough. Luckily for them, they've got 3 cars that are bunched up quite close together, so they do have a chance of getting back here. Is actually Sorry, I've completely lost that. Eager Pro with some problems as they're all over the place on the tyres. It looks like they must have some overheating issues, surely. There's no other explanation. Frantic gets a 3-second time penalty. Such a good start to this race, which has been hampered by that mistake there, and it's not going to be easy for them to deal with later on in this race. Jericho Willis is going to be the next car to try and attempt an overtake on Frantic and see what they can do in clean air. But no, they're not going to be overtaken because Frantic dives straight into the pit lane and prevents anybody from getting past. It's going to be Briscoe and Jericho following each other into the first corner, and no moves will be made. It's going to be fresh tyres, and it's going to be the medium for the Dutchman. A double stop. Hards for Charlie. A very early call to this compound, but they could possibly take it all the way to the end. But for Frantic, a double stop is going to be tough. This is the man leading by 4 seconds now. Absolutely monumental stuff. This time last season, we saw an epic battle between Jericho Willis and Verf. Jericho Willis ended up winning in the end, as that was a 10-second time penalty to the Hungarian from the pit lane, I think. And that allowed the American to, I think, possibly even, secure the championship. Or they already won the championship going into that race, I should say. Jericho Willis still looking for their first victory in LSI. It's Verf looking for their second, and it's Briscoe Jr. who goes through. A lovely move for the multi-race winner so far this season. Winning in Belgium and Spain, just to name the two. And they now make that move on Jericho Willis. So Briscoe Jr. unleashed on this hard tyre is going to try and make a dent in Verf's advantage that they've managed to pull. It's very much one extreme of a strategy to another extreme. And you can see how much pace that hard tyre's got right now. Look at the grip. Look at how stable the Williams car is relative to Jericho Willis, who's having to use some battery to try and catch back up, but on the traction they just didn't have it. And that's going to be DRS gone. Jericho Willis will not be able to hold on to Briscoe Jr. and they're going to have to focus on Eager Pro further behind instead. Although Eager Pro straight into the pit lane. They're going to follow the calls a few laps later. Are we going to see Niffa in as well? No, we don't see Niffa into the pit lane. Eager Pro is going to determine how bad this undercut is as they go on to the hard tyres, as we expected to see from Frantic, but didn't get. Charlie a few seconds behind, but in clean air. There is Eager Pro. They're going to end up dropping behind the Williams car, so they did get undercut. Is this tyre advantage going to be worth it later on? I'm not entirely convinced. I think Eager Pro's pitted maybe a little bit too early, as they're not with the pack of cars necessarily, but they've been, well, overcut quite nicely by the rest of the field. That being said, of course, Frantic has been onto the second set of medium tyres, so they're going to have a bigger advantage compared to the rest of the field. So maybe I'm looking a bit too deep into that for now. We'll see. Jericho Willis, actually, in fairness to them, considering the tyre situation, has held on quite nicely to the back of Briscoe Jr. Without DRS, they still make sure that they're in contention for this race. Verf stays out, looking to push these tyres to the absolute limit. Jericho Willis into the pit lane in the background. You can see there Sulkin follows along. Are we expecting to see Nifo as well? No, they stay out on track also. The top three all not pitted yet. It's Jericho Willis currently the lead car, but they're getting their tyres changed, so we'll see Frantic retake the lead of the train, and probably by a decent margin as well. You can see the McLaren leaving the pit lane now, and it's going to be Charlie ahead. Eager Pro is going to just start ahead of Jericho Willis, as Jericho had to really hold to the right hand side to avoid any kind of funny business. Sulkin just a little bit further behind there. You can see them just in the background. That is a, I'll say, brilliant strategy from Charlie, to be honest, to get themselves into P5. Eager Pro has now got a car that's 2 laps older tyres than him, directly in front, and they've lost Frantic, who they were fighting previously. Jericho Willis, of course, directly behind Eager Pro. They haven't lost or gained too much, but it's definitely been hampered, but just by a brilliant strategy from Charlie. But how far will this strategy take Charlie? Will they be able to get to the end of the Grand Prix without a puncture? We've had races around here in the past with punctures. I think it might have been in F122. That's Igor off the track as they completely lose it all, going wide and wider and wider, and that was it. All advantage lost, and now they're going to be attacked by Jericho Willis, quite possibly into the final chicane, as it's Verf into the pit lane in the meantime, onto the hards to take it to the end of the Grand Prix. Jericho Willis follows on board, but a bit of a dodgy traction zone once again. That final corner is just brutal. No battery for Eager Pro saves them, and they do get through anyway, as then they're now going to try and charge to Charlie. They've got even more of an advantage on Charlie regarding tyre wear, but once again, will that really be enough, considering they've got a 1.4 second advantage track position? That's going to be absolutely crucial. I think if I was anyone in this race right now, well, I would quite like to be Verf, but out of the battle that we've just been witnessing, I would be Charlie, because they've pulled off a brilliant strategy to get themselves into the position that they're in. Verf has had a brilliant start to the race, and no questions have been asked since. The only question that we can really afford to ask is, where will Briscoe Jr. end up in all of this? Frantic in P4, 1.4 seconds, closing up nicely on Verf with this very different strategy. Whether that's intended or not, I don't know. But Nifo, 11.7 seconds, taking their tyres to 12 laps now, behind Briscoe Jr., who's also on the same age, but on the harder compound, and going for a bit more of a understandable strategy. So I think Nifo is risking quite a lot here for a high reward. But it's going to be very difficult to benefit from it. Look at those tyres, absolutely rinsed. Not seen tyres this bad for a long time. It's pretty impressive to see, I'll give it that. Locking up that front left, bit of an under rotation, not fully stopping at least, which is good to see. Briscoe Jr. coming out of Spoon Corner and now looking to maybe head to the pit lane possibly, as Verf has pitted. It's the top two, the only ones to not pit. Frantic now losing as Verf has got their tyres warmed up and is making more progress into this race to try and secure that second victory in LSI F1. Frantic. They've got the gap for now, but they're going to have to pit again at some point, and Charlie started to make the progress themselves. Pro just staying out of DRS range from Charlie at the moment. They've got pressure from Jericho Willis. There's Niffo into the pit lane, as we were expecting to see at some point soon. Pro goes for the fastest lap of the Grand Prix as they try and push to catch. But Jericho Willis still sticks with the Serbian, holding on nicely to the fastest car out on track at the moment. 1.5 seconds away from the Williams car to get back into the train. That would be incredibly useful in all of this. That advantage that Briscoe Jr. had by getting ahead into clean air on those tyres is definitely been very helpful, but will they be in the traffic? I don't know! Oh, no. Frantic is off the road. This medium tyre is not working. Lap 6 on this compound on the second set, and they've lost the car. I don't know if that's driver error or if that tyre is just a little bit spiky, but not being on the hards, in my opinion, seems to be the mistake. And now they've got a few corners to try and get rid of that grass and get back into the groove. DRS is not available in this back straight, so they just have to wait for this straight to end and hope that they can get back within sulking. But I don't think it's going to be possible. I think these tyres are possibly shot, and they're going to have to jump onto a set of hard tyres, or they're not going to be able to go much further. They're going to stay out for now and make use of these tyres. So I think they're looking for the softs to end this Grand Prix. Briscoe Jr. 18 seconds, 19 seconds ahead of Charlie. I'm not entirely sure what the pit lane is like, but it's a pretty fast one on entry and exit. So it is going to be a shorter pit lane. I think they would be possibly neck and neck with Charlie if they were pit and come out now, which would be ideal for Briscoe's race. But I think now, as we get halfway through the lap, all of a sudden it's become a little bit too late. And now we would see potentially Briscoe coming out behind Jericho Willis. I think that would probably be the limit, but it wouldn't be too long until we'd see Sulking get through as well. So Briscoe Jr. has to make this call, and surely they're going to come in within the next couple of laps. Although, of course, as we've seen, quite a few drivers pitted fairly early. Once again, we still see this attempt at staying out. So Briscoe Jr. is trying to do the strategy that they pulled off in Belgium. But this one appears a little bit more difficult to me, especially considering that we've had this driver who had a phenomenal first stint and drove an incredibly clean opening lap. Very calculated to get the job done and get themselves in this optimal position. Nothing can stop them now, except from a strategy call from Briscoe to work out. And if it's going to work out, then, well, it might just be a magic trick. Charlie still has the pressure at the moment and could be looking at a P2, if not a P3, relative to wherever their teammate finishes. Currently they have the high ground, and they had the high ground for a while until you could probably put a few fast laps in, achieving the fastest lap themselves. In the meantime, we have seen Niffo go for that severe overcut as they try to stay out on the medium tyre, and they're hoping that they can get a bit of an advantage later on, which might work, to be honest. As once again, I will repeat, we have had punctures here in the past, but it's still going to be complicated. Briscoe Jr. stays out for another lap. Charlie, oh, locks the rears. There's contact. Eagle Pro is out of the race. No, Charlie's out of the race. I do not believe it. The virtual safety car is deployed. And what a race we were going to have towards the end. Now that's completely changed. The race will be neutralised. Frantic has an opportunity to do something different. So does Jericho Willis, who actually might have damage from this. They do have big damage from this. And that's why they've been forced to pit at this stage. Absolutely devastating for Jericho Willis. But they have just effectively, well, not gained a position. It's Eagle Pro, who I thought was involved in that crash. They didn't pit in time. They've got front wing damage on the left end plate, but they didn't go into the pit lane in time. Don't think they would have sorted their MFD. They've now just gained, well, a position, and Jericho Willis is a pit stop behind with 10 seconds on Nifo, 13. But they've got front end plate damage, and they're going to have to race this all the way to the end with Sulkin on 1 lap fresher tyres. Now that's going to be a tough ask. Sulkin spots the opportunity as we see Briscoe Jr. into the pit lane. And it's going to be Verth going through. As we see Eagle stay out also. But where will Briscoe Jr. end up? It's going to be just in between Nifayan and Sulkin. So they've now got a car that's on, well, 2 cars that's on much older tyres, and one of those cars has front wing damage. They need to get through those 2 and then catch up to Verth. Let's watch and just see a few laps on board with Briscoe Jr. as they try and catch up the cars in front. They can see the Ferrari, the corners ahead. Eagle Pro and Sulkin are going to have to try and work together here. Otherwise it's going to be even easier pickings for Briscoe, as it looks like it's going to be. Some mistakes there for Sulkin on the rear end. They use some battery to catch back up, turn it off, and stay with the Aston Martin for now. 7 seconds Verth is ahead of the P2 and 3 sitters. .8 seconds, Briscoe Jr. on an absolute mission to catch up now. In the meantime, Jericho Willis trying to do what they can with these tyres. They'll be good to the end of the Grand Prix for sure, but it's not the situation that they wanted to be in for their final race of the season. Just missing out on a few wins here and there. Absolutely devastating. In the meantime, we see Sulkin pushing to try and make sure that Briscoe Jr. isn't able to hold on and get that DRS range. Briscoe brakes as late as they can, but it's already too late. DRS is lost, and they're not going to have a chance at making the move this time around. Sulkin, however, is going to give it a shot at getting ahead of Egapro. Egapro goes to the inside. I think that's more about trying to get out the way and allowing Sulkin to go through than it is an actual defensive throw. Sulkin to P2 quite nicely. That slingshots them in front. Egapro now has that dirty air and the front wing damage, and that is going to swing things a little bit. Sulkin might find that they've got a bit more pace in this car. Egapro now has all the disadvantages possible, and now they have pressure behind once more. Not only a car to look at ahead of them, and I think we might even see a send down the inside from Briscoe Jr. Are they going to have a go into the hairpin? It's going to be inevitable, but no! Absolutely distraught into the hairpin, though. It's going to be damage for Briscoe Jr., the challenger in this race, to give it to Verth in the final laps. It's not going to happen now, surely. Front wing damage is going to end any chance at a victory, but maybe the tyre advantage might be enough for Briscoe to have a go and catch Sulkin, a driver who's been on an absolute run, getting amazing results for Williams, has just misjudged it. And both drivers trying their best to race to the limit. Egapro could see it coming. He made sure he chose his braking point, but Briscoe Jr. wanted to go there as well, and it just didn't work out. A very complicated move to pull off, and in the meantime they've gone and got themselves a time penalty, trying to push the limits, but also with a bit of understeer from the front wing. That's going to change things massively. Briscoe has got to hope that their tyres can take them far enough into this race so they can try and finish ahead of Sulkin. They've also got to hope that Sulkin gets a time penalty. Egapro, no time penalty for them, but also with damage. Unless their tyres get better somehow than Briscoe's, they're going to be ending up in P4 or lower in this race. Sulkin P2 without time penalties. They should be good to go. But Verth, what a drive so far. Absolutely flawless. And I thought they might have had a chance at winning their home Grand Prix in Hungary last week. But 1 week later, they're giving it one hell of a drive and showing us what they really can do. Sulkin has got a lot of pressure. This is the closest battle on track. Right now you can see as they go through the S's, they're turning the wheel and the tyres do grip up. You can get that throttle back on and just work away a little bit harder at the yellow wall compound and still get what they need from the car, but that's going to go away eventually. So with that and a less than optimal front wing, they're going to find themselves struggling later. That being said, 11 lap old medium tyres. That's absolutely killer. You can see how close they were to the track limits, not even fully pushing on the throttle to get to that point. That just shows you the understeer that they're having to deal with in that car. And they're not exactly brimming with ERS to give Sulkin an attack, because, well, if they were, then they would probably be in P2 and running away with it. That being said, they've had a brilliant final corner and they've had an opportunity to get alongside, and it's going to be around the outside. Sulkin goes deep. A switchback isn't available. It's going to be the outside line once again. Wow! Absolutely incredible! Insane from the man from Portugal to P2 with an incredible... I don't know what to say. How did they just do that? Around the outside with no front wing at a corner that you just don't overtake at. Sulkin gave it a very good defence, and I thought they might have just had him. But we got to turn 3 and 4. And the confidence in the blue car just absolutely shot up. And there it is. The P2 that they were looking for. They're now in clean air. Is this is this front wing going to still hamper them? Is Sulkin going to find a way through on track? Well, I think it's going to be, regarding time penalties, a slam dunk. We just don't know about the rest. Wow. What a last half a lap we just had there. And now a last full lap. And now Sulkin's going to be the one to attack with a lot of battery as well. The battery's turned off for Briscoe Jr. They gave it a good old effort to be in front. They allow Sulkin to power through. And with a lot of momentum, they go through the first and second corner to now be ahead at the corner that they were overtaken at just one lap ago. Lap 24 to 27. These guys are 10.5 seconds behind. A crazy driver who was twitching over the second Degner there, exiting the kind of corner just before the tunnel. And they're still pushing it nicely, keeping themselves in check. They've got a decent amount of battery, but not a full battery, showing that they are making sure they're on their toes. They do have to think about the tyres in this race, of course, but they're now bringing it all the way to 11 seconds advantage. Brilliant stuff. Sulkin pushing as far as they can. Briscoe Jr. is going to try and do something maybe on track and put the pressure on Sulkin to try and see if a time penalty is possible from the red car. And it is surprisingly easy to receive a penalty at this venue. Egapro, P4 at the moment, the only other car to not have a time penalty in this race. Another really good exit though from Briscoe Jr. is going to allow them to have another attack at Sulkin, the outside line, and this time a much earlier move. And no questions asked from Sulkin. They're just going to allow the Williams to pass. Lap 25 out of 27. Only a few to go in this race. We've got Sulkin in P3. We've got Egapro in P4. Nifo to P5. Not too far away from Igor. They do have a time penalty. Jericho Willis on a very different strategy after the incident that they had. They had a new front wing, and now they're doing what they can. Frantic, who led the race after the first corner, down in P7, unfortunately, with unfortunate few moments, and an also two-stop strategy that did not work out. Time penalty-wise, it's a 3-second for all except from Frantic that have time penalties. It's a 6-second for the Alpine car. Once again, though, clear for the 3. That's Verf, Sulkin, and Egapro, who's actually lost DRS range from Briscoe Jr., who's put in an absolutely amazing performance to do what they've just done with that front wing. Now, Sulkin's going to catch it all back up on the back straight. Very quick in a straight line, it seems. As your race leader begins the penultimate lap. And so does your onboard driver, who isn't going to be pressured by Sulkin by the time they get to turn 1. Once again, all that Briscoe can do is sit in front and hope that Sulkin gets the time penalty. Not impossible. We've seen these things happen in the past. But Sulkin knows they've got a pretty clear trip to P2 if they want it. Just don't drop the ball. Eager Pro definitely were in this fight before, but after that incident with Charlie locking up those tyres in front, Jericho Willis and Eager Pro colliding with the driver from Poland, ending the Williams car race, but just hampering Jericho and Igor's. By not pitting, though, they have ended up staying in front of Nifoyan, and they've guaranteed a position ahead of Jericho Willis. So, after questioning their strategy, they have managed to make this work, and what they've really done is the best decision, and that is to stay out. Nifo is catching, might even have a go here in the final moments of this race. They've got much better tyres and a full front wing. As we see Verf begin the final lap of the Grand Prix, it's going to be Sulkin putting pressure on, but not enough. It's game over. There is battery and there is a final back stretch, but no DRS for the rest of this lap. And I think Briscoe Jr. might have just done enough. If they can save the battery throughout the rest of the lap, that will be a job well done. Not the result they would have wanted after pole position, but after the first half of this race, it's probably a result that they were thinking as worst case. Later on with the incident, got a little bit better. And we'll see if there are going to be any manoeuvres performed by any cars, but Nifo is very much at the back of Eager Pro now. If it's going to be a move, it's going to be into the final chicane. We saw that happen last year from Eager Pro. It was an absolutely epic ending to the Grand Prix. Will we see a challenge from Sulkin by the time we get to the final chicane? I think it's very much possible. A full battery almost to use, but it's going to be a defence also thrown by Briscoe Jr. The battery's gone. It's not going to be possible. Sulkin's given it everything. Nifo is not going to have a chance at making a move either. Verf comes around the final corner and they win the final race of the season in style. Verf wins the Japanese Grand Prix. Sulkin in P2 after that. A brilliant performance to see themselves in the second step on the podium. Briscoe Jr. with a crazy strategy, unfortunately having an incident to put them to P3 and not compete for that victory. Eager Pro just stays ahead of Nifo, and Nifo directly behind. A lovely race to end the season. Congratulations McLaren, congratulations to Heischler and Jericho Willis. Thank you very much to everybody that has been a part of this championship, spectator or competitor. And there it is, the nominees for the race, a good old mix. But everyone, it's Verf who takes victory. It's Sulkin in P2 and Briscoe in P3. We've got Eager Pro, Nifo, Jericho Willis, Frantic, Charlie and Master Oath, with the last two DNFing earlier on the race director, just in case is on your screen now, and then we export the results just as well, just in case. And we'll be back for the post-race interviews. We'll see you in a bit. Hello everyone and welcome to the post-race interviews of the Japanese Grand Prix, the final race of the season. We start with Nifo. Nifo, that was a tough one. Originally it looked like it was going to be a very close race and the train was close, which you do thrive with. Unfortunately that little move didn't go quite to plan and then it just dropped away from there.
Yeah, I mean, same story as every race, really. I mean, I think even in quali, I felt like the first two runs were quite okay, and then I did my final run, and I felt like I pushed pretty hard, and I was like, okay, well, I think this is max I can do, and I look, and I'm 5 tenths off. I was like, okay, well, great, this again. But I was like, it's a long race, and it's a DRS train track, so it's like, you can do some stuff, which I think I did. Before that, I don't even like. I understand that sometimes the curbs are a bit slippery, but I was braking lightly. DRS was closed, and I just got, it just spat me off. And I mean, I saved it, which was good enough. I didn't turn me around, but I mean, you lose you're 2 seconds behind. You don't have DRS. Your tires are overheated. At that point, you're just stuck, and it's just the same as every race. And I just lacked the overall pace, so I just. When I saw Frantic and Charlie pit, I was like, okay, well, that's the wrong strategy. So I was like, I can't catch the guys in front for the life of me because they're just all way faster. And I'm just getting slower. So it's just like, well, I'm just going to push my tires to what they can to cover them off. And I did that, which is, I mean, I guess the consolation prize that I got is that I didn't lose positions to them as well. Because if that happened, then, well, it would have been even better. But yeah, it's just the same. I mean, like if you look at like a year ago or even longer, and like I don't understand how I'm here. I don't like it's one thing that other people improve, but I just don't understand why I'm just losing performance like by miles. I'm not consistent anymore. I'm not good at anything. I was good at starts. I'm not good at starts anymore. I keep losing positions. I'm not good in the train anymore apparently. So I was good at overtakes. Can't do them anymore. So I'm just lost, honestly, and I think I'm happy the season's over now. So a bit of a break from this. But yeah, I mean, there are some fun moments in the season, but it's mostly been a bit of a mystery to what really has happened here. But what can you do? I guess this is life. This is the cards I've been dealt. I just get slower every race, but. I felt like everybody. I had a good race with everybody. I rarely collided with anybody this season, so I want to thank everybody for racing well. And the only one I can blame is me for all of this. So, yeah, basically that.
Thank you for the words there, and I do apologise, but we appreciate your effort through the entire season, so thank you very much for making it. I do have a quick question about this race. Do you think one more lap you'd have had the Pro?
Yeah, but I mean, I made a mistake again myself, and I had a 3 second. So I could have caught him earlier. I just was so caught up in what had happened that I couldn't push. Like I was in my own head, and that yeah. I mean, it's another stupid thing that I've never really had before, where I'm like so in my own head. I think it's just a accumulation of all this. I couldn't push. I could have caught him before the end, but I was in my own head. So yeah. I think the answer is yes, but I should have just got him earlier. So.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to try and put a positive note on this to end the interview. Max, Oscar, Orlando.
Max by Tsunoda Torpedo.
Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time. Well done today.
Thank you.
And we move on to Frantic. Frantic, I have to say, what a start. Absolutely insane.
Yes.
The strategy was a bit questionable, but the start was just amazing.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was good. Like, I didn't practice at all, so I don't know how I got P3. It's still a mystery to me, but it was awesome. The pace in the race, it was just, let's not talk about it, honestly. So I'm happy with how the race went, honestly. Like, I torpedoed myself into the gravel 2 times. Got a time penalty, 1 instant time penalty as well.
Ouch.
But I mean, at the end of the day, I'll take it. Like, it's not my tier. Next season it is. So I'll keep pushing and improve myself.
Yeah, for sure. Just getting the bad luck out the way, you know, and some amazing overtakes like that is. If I could do a highlight video, that is the thumbnail. That first corner was absolutely incredible.
Let's go!
Really well done today, and thank you very much for the effort. You gave us an incredible race to begin with. It was very exciting, and yeah, thank you very much for the season you've given us. Good luck tomorrow, because I know you're not going to be there, and for your sake, I hope that Terence doesn't score 8 points, because then you'll take the double. But we'll see. Thank you very much, Frantic.
Oh wait, really? I didn't know. All right,
Yep.
well,
It's going to be interesting. I will also ask you the question.
Oh, right.
Max, Lando, or Oscar?
Oscar. Let's go! Let's go, Oscar! Let's go!
Thank you very much. Really well done today, Frantic, and hoo-ha.
Appreciate it.
And we move on to Sulkin. Sulkin, welcome back, first of all. Were you expecting a P2?
No, not at all, actually. Today's practice was really much that I did 3 laps in quali, and that was the practice I had. So yeah, very, very like shocking for me to be on the podium today. I thought I'm gonna be last place or something.
And what was your game plan going into this one? Were you thinking just stay out of trouble and keep your front wing? Because that's kind of how it went, and it worked.
Yeah, well, to be honest, the only thing I thought about was just to have fun, because it was the last race, and of course the championship was won by Haish like 1 or 2 races ago. I don't really know. And yeah, just to have fun, honestly. Of course, I had no warnings, no penalties, no wing damage, so I was very happy with that. I almost got wing damage when Jericho crashed into Charlie, that DNF'd him, so that was quite sad. And was surprised by my pace today, honestly. Like I thought the guys was gonna lap me or something. So yeah, very, very happy with the race pace today.
Yeah, it was great to see you, and thank you very much for coming along, and congratulations on the podium. I will end the interview and the F1 Championship for Season 15 with the same question for you as well. Max, Lando, or Oscar?
Of course, it's gonna be Max, man. I believe in Yuki Torpedo.
Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time. 2 opinions the same. Thank you very much, Sulkin. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching. It's been a pleasure. We will see you tomorrow for the LSI F1.5 finale in Suzuka, and we'll see you in 2026 for league racing as well. We'll see you for a few live streams over the next couple of weeks as well, and I'll finally get my wheel back and we'll do some lobbies. Thank you very much, and we'll see you in a bit. Bye bye.